original short film is called Home, a story about a man on a Mars research expedition. Now, the studio behind this mini masterpiece is not MAPPA or Sciencesaru, it's Studio Orange, who is not exactly a household name. But look, when it comes to 3D animation, they know what they're doing, and it's because they don't do stuff like this or that. Yeesh Louise, it's no wonder why people can't get behind 3D anime. But Orange is trying to change that notion. In fact, that's why I wanted to put this studio in the limelight. So today we're talking about Studio Orange and how they are revolutionizing 3D anime. Orange has been around since the early 2000s, and its full commitment to 3D animation stems from its founder, Eiji Inamoto, who is best known at this point for creating those cute and adorable yet existentially dreaded tachikomas from Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. And he also did work on Zoids. Remember watching that one on the way to going to school? Because I sure do. Now, he freelanced much of his early career, including founding his own studio. In fact, the name Studio Orange doesn't come from the fact that he's a massive fan of the fruit. It's because of the Japanese phrase, orenji, which means my place in English. For the first decade, they did a lot of outsourcing 3D work for different studios like Kinema Citrus and 3 Hertz. However, Orange finally broke ground on their first ever anime, and look, this would prove to be a very difficult test. Land of the Lustrous is a story of anthropomorphic gems who are preventing their own demise at the hands of these ancestral beings, who are basically trying to turn them into jewelry. Now, the manga is very unique in the fact that the beauty heavily relies on these characters. The colors, the shininess, the translucency. It's a sight to really behold when reading, and adapting an anime from this kind of manga is going to take a lot of work. And the fact that they did achieve just that is very, very impressive. So how'd they do it? First, you should know that the entire anime was done in 3D with a 2D overlay. So they created cell shaders on the edges of these 3D models to make them look hand-drawn. They also used limited animation like fewer frames per second and sharp key poses to imply that traditional anime-like motion. In order to create the shimmering translucency for the gem's hair, they layered textures and reflection shaders. The sparkles and the emotional expressions also come from the overlaid hand-drawn 2D effects, like when you see Foe's tears when she's crying. Lustrous has some epic battles, like the ones with the Lunarians, and look, seeing this animated in the silver screen is absolutely amazing to watch. The long tracking shots, the camera swooping around the characters and rising from the ground to the sky truly shows the scale of this battle. Their mantra was to use 3D only to enhance the animation and use 2D for the emotional clarity. Look, it's masterclass animation that's definitely meant for a TED Talk one day, if it hasn't already. Let's be real, I didn't watch Lustrous for the storyline. It's all about the visuals because I've heard so many good things about it and they don't disappoint. I mean, they perfectly encapsulate the physical embodiment of a gem. I mean, look at the beautiful translucency within them, the coloring, the shininess. It is truly something special to look at. While Lustrous never broke mainstream, industry leaders praised the heck out of the visuals with this anime, some even calling it a turning point for CG anime. Let's just say it, this series is the true definition of a hidden gem. See what I did there? Aha! I got plenty more where that came from. But in all seriousness, the fact is, the story of Land of the Lustrous is pretty mediocre at best. So could you really imagine what they could do with amazing visuals like this with a story that actually is compelling. Meet the dark and equally captivating world of Beastars, where this school of anthropomorphic animals are in the midst of a murder mystery because of the death of one of their herbivore classmates. This whodunit is one of the most impressive feats of anime that I've ever seen. And look, it's captured the hearts of many people around the world. The fact is, the studio still maintained that 3D, 2D combination of animation that was so successful and lustrous, but they enhanced in every way possible for making Beastars. First is the facial expressions, where they created custom rigs to animate the muscles, the brows, the eyelids, and the lips. They used motion capturing to store human expressions and map them to the animals. This method has done wonders. Just look at Legoshi. He's a conflicted wolf of many emotions that wasn't privy to hiding them. Look at the scenes where he internally struggles. The eye contact, the ear twitches, the toothy snarls are so easy to read, even the nostril flares. The one thing I love about Beastars is how close it feels to actually watching a live action movie. They really pushed the boundaries on making this anime very cinematic by using these dynamic angles, the depth of field, and these realistic lens choices. In the scenes where they're just talking, I love the over-the-shoulder shots and the pan and tilt camera movements. It feels like a noir. Beastars is also a series about tension and ambiguity, so the way they use shadows and lighting to match the dark tones of the series is really brilliant. Another thing I found absolutely delightful is the Season 1 OP, which that dance sequence was entirely done in stop motion animation. This was done by a separate studio, Dwarf, who is best known for creating the Pokemon Concierge series, which I've done a video talking about how much comfort food this show is and just how adorable and great it is to watch. You should really check it out. I think this OP also proves Studio Orange's willingness to experiment and to not limit themselves for the sake of art, which is a philosophy I can totally get behind. Beastars is one of the most beautiful anime you'll ever watch, and it's still one of the most successful anime on Netflix. However, as good as Beastars is, Studio Orange has still yet to reach the height of their powers. However, thanks to their latest project, the studio might finally get the recognition they truly deserve. Orange released Trigun Stampede early in 2023, and look, this is their most ambitious project to date. It's a remake of a classic anime, so the expectations were always going to be huge. Now, I'll spare you the details because 1, it's super convoluted, and 2, there are plenty of people who do it better than me, and besides, don't you want to hear the secret sauce to how this was made? Well, I'll tell you, it starts from a little thing called Unreal Engine. This upgrade allowed them to render the entire town of Genoa Rock, which is a big deal because they were able to fully capture Vash's movements on a 3D plane in real time. Also, remember Home, that short that you saw earlier? Well, they used the technology that created Mars for that film to generate the entire town of Genoa Rock, both the depth and the scale. Other significant updates came from previous works as well, like generating the hot, dusty weather of No Man's Land. Animating the clothes to realistically fit on the characters came from an idle game, nonetheless. Nailing the texture and weight for characters of varying sizes so that they can move similarly without looking off came from their collaboration with Studio Bones in the excellent Netflix anime Godzilla Singular Point. And look, I really love that series, but I'm sure it took some back-breaking math to accomplish that. I thoroughly enjoyed Trigun Stampede, and Studio Orange's achievement should be relegated to not just how amazing this anime is, but how they are changing the perception of people when it comes to 3D anime. And their road towards this achievement could not have been any more difficult. Between our perceptions, our negative perceptions, when it comes to 3D anime, and I'm sure many of their financial backers who didn't really think 3D anime was the place to go. And despite all this, Inamoto and his studio should be proud of the fact that they've found the secret formula to create beautiful 3D anime. In conclusion, Studio Orange has created some of the most beautiful and memorable anime on the face of this earth. And look, hopefully other studios follow suit, but for now, let's celebrate how it all began. From a determined little studio that started in a house in Tokyo. Now thanks for watching, and if you just can't get enough of me and want to show some love and support, please like this video, subscribe, it really does help. And let's get to that first stage, guys, 1,000 subscribers. Now don't forget to have a great day, a great night, a great morning, wherever it is, wherever you are, and don't forget, Kokishin Amote Kudasai. Now it's time for me to sign up for that computer graphics course, because that's where the future's at. I mean, if I'm gonna get up on the Studio Orange train, I need to start somewhere, so let's get to it.